Hello, everybody. Right? We're good. We're good. We're good. We can always edit this out. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Inner Circle podcast, Martial Arts Industry Unfiltered. My name is Master Tim Berlow. I'm joined here with Master Matt Tracy and Master CJ Edichico, and we are very, very excited to have a wonderful guest. I call him the man, the myth, the legend. I've known him my entire life, an entrepreneur, very, very successful in the industry, Grandmaster Chris Berlow.
Woo! Well, thank you. Honored and excited to be here with all of you guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So, for our new listeners, Grandmaster Berlow is obviously, Master Berlow's dad. That wasn't completely obvious. And he's been my Taekwondo instructor for the past 21 years and became an influence of Master CJ's over the past few years through the Taekwondo Professionals Network.
Yeah, and we're like we all mentioned, so we're very excited that you're here. Thank you for being our inaugural guest. And I'd like to just start by asking you, I know we can go in for probably 12 hours about your history in Taekwondo and everything it's done for you in your life. But I'd like to know, and I think all of our listeners would be excited to know, just a quick, maybe a few minute introduction to you, how you got started in Taekwondo, how you flourished into the multi-school owner, business entrepreneur you are now with real estate, and how all those steps happened in between. And again, just a few minute brief but detailed description of your journey, sir.
Okay, I would love to say it's going to be brief, and detailed, but I'm not a really great detail guy. And once the story gets rolling, it's pretty in depth. I started my training in 1983. So I was 13 years old, but I started out of necessity, to be honest. I had a very, very hard childhood, a very, very difficult childhood. And at that time, my father, my biological father, had left a long time ago. So I had a stepfather who Master Berlow just knows as Grandpa, right? And I love him. I have so much respect and admiration, but everybody goes through ups and downs, and he had a very, very dark period. It wasn't his fault, kind of. He was a contractor working in the city, and then he was working in the basement, and then went into the basement and he found this bag or this suitcase, and he's like, wow, I'm going to be rich. He thought he found like a suitcase of gold. And then he opens the suitcase, and it was like a deteriorated head, like somebody murdered and put that head in the suit. Did you know this, Master Berlow? Yeah. And then he opened it, and then it's like, whoa. And then he found the bags, and that was the rest of the body parts. And it actually put him in a mental institution because it was just too traumatic. He came out of the mental institution, then became an alcoholic, and then became a violent alcoholic. And my mother, who was a small woman, all my siblings had left to go in the military because they just wanted to get out of the house because it was fairly toxic. And I said, well, I got to defend my mother. So I actually signed up for Taekwondo to defend my mother against my stepfather during that time. Now, ironically, when I became a white belt or I became a yellow belt, he stopped drinking cold turkey. There was some kind of like dramatic scene at the house and police were involved, but he stopped and never had a drink since 1983. So it was a really great thing, and then he was kind of back to his normal, really great individual self. And he was a great, great grandfather. But anyway, so that's how I initially started. And when I started, I was 13 years old, didn't really have a good identity, didn't have anything going. And I believe at that time I found my calling. I competed in my first tournament as a white belt, faced a blue belt, did not win. Next tournament, I won the gold medal at the state championships. Again, this is back in the early 80s. And then, then went to Junior Olympics my first time, got robbed at the juniors, but that's a different conversation. And then from there, just kept on training and training hard and training hard and competing. And I found my best friends, and actually my best friends who are still my best friends were my training partners, Master Paul Malella and Master Joe Bedini. We all started around the same time, and they're the godfathers of two of my children, right? So like we're still that close. We talk to each other every day. I'm business partners with one of them. The other one, we train together still. So they're like my brothers. But continued on, I guess it was 87. I won gold medal at the Junior Olympics, black belt division, which was nice. Then went on to adult competition, won bronze in 89 at the nationals, went to the team trials, all that stuff, tried to go with that Olympic route. But then my instructor, we had a pretty strong team. And my instructor, like I was trying to get the wild card to go to the team trials because I was a pretty good fighter back then. And then, but he chose my colleague. He chose my training partner. And I was like, wow, okay. Well, if I don't have the support of my coach, my instructor, I'm going to put my efforts into teaching. So I transferred at that time and I went into teaching, and I actually found more fulfillment in teaching and making a difference with the students than I did with, than I would competing for myself. I thought it would be more selfless. And then I started training athletes and so on. So then I fast forward again. All those training guys went and opened up their own schools. I was the only one left with my instructor. So here's the one that he kind of like pushed to the side to support another guy. But then I was the only one that stayed with him out of loyalty, right? But then it got to a point where there were 3 people left in the organization. It was me, him, and his wife. And things were going in one direction. I was definitely low man on the totem pole because he wasn't going to get rid of his wife. And he asked me to leave. And that was when I opened up my school in 1999. Master Berlow was 3 years old. I could share a little funny story. I had my first board-breaking pizza party ever. And after the pizza party, I left Brandon and him and our daughter just kind of by themselves playing, and he single-handedly destroyed the dojang. Like, I'm not kidding. We're talking, he took all the mats, he took the pizza that was left over, and smeared it across the mirrors. Right? 3 years old.
Sounds about right.
That's not right. With the same smile, looking at me like, what'd I do? You left me alone. Anyway, but he literally grew up. He learned how to potty train at the dojang.
I thought that was Brandon.
What's that?
I thought that was Brandon.
No. He was a little slower developer. But literally, he trained. But it was a wonderful thing. It was a wonderful time. My goal when I opened the school was to have 100 students in 1 year. We ended up having 200 students. Wow. I was relentless. I had no choice. I opened up the school with a $10,000 loan that I took from a company called Household Finance at 25% interest. No kidding. 25% interest. I bought the mats, first set of uniforms and mirrors, and then the dream. And I was relentless. I had no choice. I had no money. I had to feed my family and support my family. And we did whatever it takes. My wife ran the admin while she worked. I did all the teaching. And like I said, within the first year, my goal was just to have 100 students to break even. And we ended up exceeding that, doubling it, and having 200 students. A one-man show with my wife running the business. And then we slowly grew, and to the point where I made the decision through mentorship. And I had a lot of great mentorship. I'll definitely acknowledge the mentors that I've had who guided me, and they plant seeds. And this is a great lesson. Like, people plant seeds, but then you don't think you can ever do it. And then all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, I can do it. And I remember taking a seminar with Grandmaster Jun Lee. Does anybody know Grandmaster Jun Lee? He's out of North Carolina. He's actually running this global Taekwondo organization, really spreading traditional values throughout the world, traveling the world. I have tremendous respect to him. And he said in a seminar, he goes, you need 3 people. He goes, number 1, you need a really good banker. Number 2, you need a really good attorney. And number 3, you need a really good accountant. And he said, and you have to get your own building. And in my mind, I'm like, there's no way. I will never, ever be able to get a building. It's not going to happen. And then, you know, whatever happened, a little more confidence, talk to the banker, meet the banker, develop a relationship, and he puts you to the attorney, and you're talking to them, and you get this team together. Holy crap, you could actually do it. So we put that dream into reality. In 2008, we built our building, which was the 100% worst possible time you could ever do that. Oh, you know, Master Berlow, it was literally to build that building. We were so over budget and we ran out of money, and I did all the construction myself with my assistant.
Wow.
And my assistant was 9-year-old Master Berlow.
Hey.
No kidding. It was my father was the superintendent, but he was kind of retired from construction. But literally it was him and I framed the whole building, sheetrocked it, did everything. It's a pretty big building.
Oh, yes, sir.
Master Tracy's in that office right now, right? He had blood. I was framing up, and then they sliced his finger almost clean off. I had to stop construction. Yep, I was pissed because we had to stop construction to take him to the freaking hospital. I was like, this is a real inconvenience. You know that, Timmy.
First the pizza, then the finger cut.
Yeah. He's screwing everything up.
What's going on here?
Sorry, I was trying. I was 9 years old.
But clearly, he was with me all the time, and it was actually an invigorating time. But the hardest time, COVID compared to that, was nothing. Like, that was a harder time for us, you know, despite obviously the tragedies that happened with COVID. Not to undermine that. But then, and then that was 2008, where most schools were closing. But once we were able to get open, it was so hard. The town wouldn't let us open. We were out of our old space. We were operating out of Briarcliff High School. Thank goodness I had a good relationship with the principal at the time, which is now the superintendent, who is still a good friend. And Master Tracy was in the after-school program during that time. Do you remember going to Briarcliff High School for about 3 months?
Yes, sir. I remember the school. It was terrible. The school bus dropped me off. So the other location was on the same street as the building. So the school bus dropped me off at the other location, and there was no one there because, you know, no one was there. So I had to walk in the rain down the block. I was like, Master Berlow was 9. I was 8 at the time. Walk down the block to this construction site. Excuse me, Master Berlow, I've been alone at the building for 2 hours. Could you drive me to the program?
I mean, there were a lot of unhappy people, but it was so hard. It was so hard, but we did it, and we lost about 50% of our enrollment. But where most schools were going down and closing, we grew once we got into that building. And then, you know, then fast forward, it was all about growth. It was all about, you know, just keep going and doing what I'm loving to do, head down, you know, do just impact and teach. And then so growing the school, growing the staff. And as a result of that time, and there's so much more to the story, but I believe and I am blessed with really great students, you know, Master Berlow, Master Tracy, and the rest of the team that, you know, I'm just really proud and honored that they continue to follow and do what we do. So that was a kind of a quick version, but a longer version than you probably wanted.
No,
there's more to the story, but that's a little bit about the background.
It was great, and I thought about this when you were saying how Master Berlow was with you, you know, as a child, a lot, and it's very obvious because in the most respectful way, he's just like you. He's very positive. He's very, you know, he cares deeply about everything that he does. He's so like I want to keep saying positive because I know you guys are like positive machine 1 and positive machine 2. It's like just positivity all day long, which I love. And he's, you know, I think in martial arts and in Taekwondo, we aspire to want to have our students be like us. right? Because I feel like we embody the martial arts spirit. We carry ourselves with respect and dignity. We treat other people with respect. We have discipline to make the right choices. We focus on our tasks. We have confidence in our ability, right? And when you can see a physical manifestation of what martial arts can produce, and not only that, but what a great father can produce, you know, this is a physical embodiment of what that is. You see it generation to generation. And that's why we're all on this mission, because we want to create the next Master Tim Berlows of the world, right? That's the goal. So it's literally inspiring to hear and see. And now, sir, I want to ask you to kind of shift gears for a second. I know that you have a background in education, and I know that you developed something that I had never seen in any other school. And I had visited and researched and seen a lot of schools throughout my career. And I know that you developed a whiteboard system in your classes where you, in the beginning, you write on the board. So I would love to hear more about how you developed that system. Was it something you got from your education background and just transported, or did you modify it in some way? How did that become, sir?
You know, that's a great question. Master Edwards, if you know Master Edwards, he is also a longtime friend, like a brother to me. He was actually my student at one point. He says I created that system. I don't remember creating the system, but then again, that was a long time ago. But I thought my master at that time, Mr. Connolly, and like that she created it, but I think we co-created it. So I don't want to take all the credit. But definitely and she was also an educator. And I want to give her credit because I have so much respect for her. She was a national champion. She actually fought. They didn't have a man to fight in the Northeast, like Canadian against the United States. So they put her in there and she beat the man.
That's awesome.
Right. Anyway, but we co-created that system, and the system, and I will be 100% transparent. It is definitely our secret sauce. It is what makes our schools unique to all other schools. And I want to uplift all of the martial arts industry. So anybody who's listening to it, please take it, run with it, utilize it. It's a simple concept of pulling the students to get them to the direction where you want them to go rather than pushing them. Most people push harder, keep in that stance, kick harder, right? Almost in a militaristic perspective. And that will work with probably about 20% of students, right? You're like, give me more. And then those are the parents who are like drilling the kids. They're like drill sergeants. But the majority of the students, to get them to be successful, is we have to pull them. And a good teacher is one that will get the students to learn and be inspired without even them knowing they're being taught, right? That's how you know it's a good teacher. And the whiteboard does that. So it's very simple. I would sit the students around the whiteboard. I'd say, all right, let me know who's sitting. So let me see who's sitting straight is how I would always start off the class. And we still do that. And it says, all right, who could tell me what's important to a Taekwondo student? Who could tell me what's important to a martial arts student? Who could tell me what's important to a black belt, right? And the students will rattle off those answers. They'll say self-control. All right, what does self-control? Show me self-control sitting straight. Show me self-control by standing straight. When you put it on top of the board, you put a column, right? You make a grid, column on top, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You put the numbers, and then they put the answer on top. So we have self-control. What else is important to a Taekwondo student? Let me see who's sitting straight. So now they're disciplined. They're sitting straight. Student says respect. Respect. How do we show respect? Right? By saying yes, sir, no, sir, by bowing. Great. What else is important to a Taekwondo student? To be strong. Yes. Strong body, strong mind. Right? You put it up there. Another one. Master Berlow, what's important to a Taekwondo student?
Perseverance.
Perseverance. Perseverance means never to give up. Master Tracy, what's important to a Taekwondo student?
Integrity, sir.
Integrity, sir. Great job. Integrity means doing the right thing when nobody is watching.
Looking,
right?
sir.
Master CJ, what's important to a Taekwondo student?
Confidence, sir.
Confidence. All right. Confidence, believing you can. Yes, I can. Boom. So now you put those on the board. Now the tone of the class is set. They now know what they're going to be striving and thriving towards. striving towards. And then as the students are in class, you see somebody who is doing that behavior, you send them to the board, giving them recognition. Wow, Master Berlow, you are sitting so straight right now. Go bring him up there for self-control. It's not a formal thing. You say, go ahead, go put your name to self-control. Master Tracy, great confidence. Go put your name there for confidence. Master CJ, you're trying your best today. Go put your name there for strong right now. Boom. They go, boom, they come back. They're back in class. They're happy. Why? Because we just help them, release that dopamine into their system, right? We just allowed them and gave them a little recognition. So I believe this strategy. Students are inspired by becoming a black belt, becoming an instructor, becoming a master, becoming grandmaster. They're inspired to work towards that next belt. But is all of our responsibility to motivate them every single day. So it's the whiteboard that allows the students, that allows us to motivate them and pull them towards the goal, and also, just reinforce the expectations in a positive way that we have for the students.
Yes, sir. It's a brilliant system, sir.
Thank you. Like I said, Master Edward says I don't remember creating it, but it is something that I will contribute to the success of the schools.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And luckily we have two people on the call right now who literally lived it. Mm-hmm. And you got to, utilize this system and create these great instructors that are sitting on this call. So I'm going to ask Master Tracy, do you have a memory of getting called up by Grandmaster Berlow or one of the instructors that were teaching and how it made you feel? Do you have a vivid memory of that?
So the only vivid memory I have of the whiteboard was it was in summer camp, and the day before I did not show self-control, and we were on a field trip, and I was like throwing rocks or something when I wasn't supposed to be. So then the instructor, the next day I said self-control for the whiteboard, and she was like, self-control is not doing what? It's throwing rocks when I'm not supposed to at camp. So it definitely reinforced the principle and the mistake and the learning experience that I had there.
Sure. How about Master Berlow, Master Tim Berlow?
Thinking about it, I do remember Grandmaster Berlow, Dad. I remember when it was a chalkboard. It wasn't a whiteboard.
Yeah, we had chalkboards back in the day. Yep. I love it too. But
as a joke, if somebody wasn't sitting straight, you jokingly throw the chalk. So that's a memory. I just remember the feeling, and it wasn't just Grandmaster Berlow teaching. It would be, Mr. Bryce, right? And because I grew up,
Master that? Master Berlow.
So whoever was teaching the class, it was just always a great feeling. It always made me want to do more and push more and work harder. And the feeling that you get, it's just such a small thing, such a little thing, but being able to get in there and write the name on the board and everybody's clapping for you, it's a really good feeling. I think the biggest thing with the whiteboard is making sure it's highlighted. So if somebody's chosen for the board, let's say Johnny's chosen for the board. Johnny, congratulations, great job. You should be so proud of yourself. Hey, go put your name on the board. Everybody, let's look at Johnny. Let's clap for him. And then Johnny's coming, he's smiling. And I just remember times where, this is for me teaching. The parents come to me after class. I just had this the other day. I'm so happy because Johnny, he had a tough day at school. And by having him get his name on the board, it made his day. It might have made his week. So thank you for giving him that experience. So it's really cool. And it's not always based on, it could be, okay, wow, they're kicking really high naturally. But it's also maybe the kid that doesn't have the natural talent, or maybe just struggles, has a little bit of trouble with whatever we're doing. and they're really putting in the effort. They're trying their best. Maybe they're not where they need to be, but you could see it in their eyes. They're putting the effort. Hey, go put up there under, try your best, right? That's your reminder that you're putting in the work. You're going to do great, you know?
And there's other utilizations as well. And but basically what you're able to do is you're able to really gear that class to what is needed. Like, in other words, if you see the students, you have a group, and I'm sure you've all been there, where there's not a lot of self-control going on. And like, I used to have a Tuesday 4 o'clock class. I would have, you ever hear of the Sunday scaries?
Sir.
You know what that is? Like, Sunday scaries is you're so afraid to go in on Monday and it ruins your Sunday, right? I heard this term. I was like, what the heck is that? I used to have the Monday scaries, right? Because of this Tuesday at 4 o'clock class. It was this group of dragons that were horrific. And I used to, like, the whiteboard or the chalkboard at the time saved us, you know, like, and they need self-control. Highly ironically, like 10 of the 12 of those students became black belts. I don't know how, but they became black belts. But it was, you know, the only way to pull them was with that whiteboard. And the big emphasis was self-control. And you have another group who there's not a lot of effort. All right, today we're going to focus on, I want to see who's trying their best. Can we do it? Yes, sir. No. Can we do it? Yes, sir. So now you go there. All right, great job. One student puts their name on trying your best. Now you're going to see 3, 4 others want to do it.
Yes, sir.
So that's, and then we used to do a little friendly competition. We said, okay, we're going to do 4 on the back whiteboard, but then we go, me and you guys, right? Yep. Do you remember that, Master Tracy?
Do that all the time.
All the time. All right, who is stronger, me or you guys? And then you'd have one of the students be the judge, and then you'd be dramatic. You guys are all great teachers, so you'd be dramatic if they get chosen and you don't get chosen, and you're laughing. And it's just, you got to love what you do.
Of course.
You got to love it. And
that's the key takeaway for any listeners, any young listeners who are young instructors coming up. If you don't love doing this, this goes for any career, any job. If you don't love doing it, you need to find the thing in life you love to do, and then you're going to flourish at it. Because when you love doing something every single day, yes, it's hard. There are days, just like Grandmaster Berlow was saying, that Tuesday class was scary and hard. But because he loved doing it so much, it helped keep his anchor strong to continue move forward with it. And look at the success he has. And I want to just highlight one other thing that Grandmaster Berlow is saying for any young listeners. He keeps saying the word pull students and motivate them instead of push. And I want to clarify a little more to what he's saying. When you guys deal with students, you have to realize they all have different motivation and want to be great. And a lot of students that act out and don't behave, it's because they want attention. It's not because they want to be bad. And not because they even are bad students. It's really because they want attention. So instead of giving them the negative attention of going, hey, don't do that. Sit still. Stop doing that. You're giving them attention. So they're going to keep doing it because they want you to keep talking to them. That's why they're doing that. Mm-hmm. Instead, we positively motivate them by saying, oh, look how great this person's doing. They recognize, oh, I want to get called out for doing something. So they start acting good. Now you got to highlight that student for being good. You're going to start transforming them into want to do positive things to get recognition. That's so important as young instructors coming up to realize, because when you master that idea, your classes are going to be booming and your class is going to be so much fun because everybody's going to want to be doing good things. So, which is great. Now, speaking on the idea, almost like risk, right? Risk management. We all play this fine line between somebody who is an authoritarian, somebody who's like a friend, somebody who's a teacher, a mentor. There's all these like different hats that we all have to wear. And I know Master Tracy had a great question about risk. And if you want to ask him, Master Tracy, I'd love to hear his answer.
Sure. So as anyone that like owns a business, is entrepreneurial knows, there's definitely a risk to reward ratio in anything that you do. So I'm curious, sir, how you viewed risk at the different stages in your career and the potential reward. So for example, like leaving your instructor, how did you feel about the risk and the reward there? Opening your first school. Then as you're more established, you know, the financial risk isn't the right word, but of hiring a full-time instructor, because that's going to directly take away from your income, but it's an investment in the future. Your first full-time hire, then your second, your third school, taking on partners, how you've viewed risk from the beginning to now the middle-ish stage of your career.
I don't
want to say it's the end.
Not the end, but more towards the 3/4. That's a great question. I don't know if I have a really good answer, because I take risks all the time. I know Master Tracy, Master Berlow are very aware of the Colby system. CJ, I don't know if you are aware of this, Master CJ. It's a Colby system where basically you have 4 modalities. There's a fact finder modality, a follow-through modality, a quick start modality, and a implementer modality. And real fast, fact finder is like just gathering information, right? Low fact finder, you don't want any, you just want the bottom line. High fact finder, you want all the details. Okay, to keep that in mind.
Sure.
Follow through, low follow through. You just adapt to situations really well, but you're not really good at following systems. High follow through, you follow system. Low quick start. You want the status quo. You reduce risk. High quick start. You thrive on risky situations. Right? You jump into a pool and hope there's water. Low implementer, you're visual. High implementer, you are like a very hands-on contractor building things. So to put that into perspective, I'm a 3 in fact finding, so I don't want any details. I'm a 2 in follow through, so I'll adapt to whatever situation comes in. I'm an 8 in quick start, so I just take action. And I'm a 7 in implementer, which I could build almost anything. What that means is I don't weigh out the risks, unfortunately and fortunately. It has served me. It used to be about 95% of the time. I'd say it's about 85% of the time now since last year.
Still good stats, sir. Still good stats.
Still good stats. But what that does is I go by my heart more than I go by my mind.
Sure.
And because of that, I have no problem taking risks. So in my world, when I take a risk on something, I like this saying is my certainty is going to overcome all doubt. Right? And I'm going to bet on myself, or I will bet on my team more than logic. Right? So I'm not adverse to risk. Master Tracy knows this very well with our hiking adventures and probably business adventures. Master Berlow knows this as well because he's very similar to me like that as well. But thankfully, I've also surrounded myself with great people, and I've had really great mentors. So it's worked out for the most part. But it's would my wife like me to be a little bit more logical at times? Absolutely. But what's the famous quote at UMAC? Master Tracy, Master Berlow, you got to know. Master Edwards says all the time. What's that?
What you put into it is what you get.
That's everything. But it will all.
It'll all work out.
It'll all work out.
It can happen.
So
that is true, because a lot of times we're in situations where we might even think ahead of time, like, I don't know about this. But have we all ever experienced something and it didn't work out? Usually it does. And we're all sitting here right now. We have roofs over our head. We have businesses. We're successful in one way or another. It always works out, because I think what Taekwondo and martial arts has instilled in us is that perseverance. Right? Yeah. Whatever challenges I face, I can navigate it and keep moving forward. Right? I'm never going to give up on my goal. So I think that has a lot to do with it too, sir.
And the other thing is there's a lot of history of hardship. So like nothing will be as bad as what some of the things that we've experienced. So it's like, if it doesn't, it's not a big deal. It's like I'll have a place to live. I'll have food to eat. I'll have people around me that, like, what else do I need? something doesn't happen, what, I lose a watch, who cares? You know,
Mhm.
it's whatever. That's so that's kind of my, so I'm not adverse to risk. I'm gonna probably try to get smarter in the future though.
Sir, I would love to take this test. I
So,
want to know what I'm at.
Yeah, you should.
so sir, something that you kind of mentioned was like that it'll all work out philosophy. Do you have any other leadership philosophies? Because you have grown a pretty extensive, close-knit team, right? We have, I think, 10 full-time staff members between our 3 locations, and I'm sure there's other people that you've inspired, like, you know, Master Bellantoni, that have gone out on their own to have their own schools. So how have you what philosophies have guided you that have created this legacy of you're known as a leader?
Oh, well, I definitely appreciate that. There's a couple of things. Number one is I continue to be a student. I continue to train under my grandmaster. I continue to train under another grandmaster, and I'm continuing growing. I will never, ever stop being a student. And my key mentor, Grandmaster Byung-Min Kim, who I owe so much to, he said to me, the only way to have lifelong students is for you to continue to train. Because what happens is this, and I have another, what happens is this, is you stop training as a leader. Now, all of a sudden, your student keeps training. Then they get to your level, like, they look at the beginning like, wow, Grandmaster Berlow, he's got such great kicks. He's got such great techniques. Holy cow. And then all of a sudden, well, yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good. Wait a minute. Mine may be a little better. I don't see him improving. I don't see, wait. Now that student needs to go find a new master or someone new to train under, right? So therefore, you lost it. So number one rule is you have to keep training. Now, I cannot do what I used to be able to do. I got double knee replacement. I'm older now, but I still go at it. I still train. Master Tracy, Master Berlow will tell you, I train with them. We train, and I'm not gonna stop. I do it, yes, for me, but I do it for them. I do it for them, and that's key. That is number one. So all masters, you have to train. You are a professional martial artist. You have to walk the walk. You can't just do a big talk and talk about what you did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You could be world champion, and if you're not training now, it means nothing. You have to consistently train and practice. That's number one. Number two, which ties right into it, is you always have to continue to be their instructor. That has to be, even though Master Tracy is a partner, Master Berlow is a partner, right? But they don't see me. They see me in two ways, but they still see me as their instructor. They see me as their instructor, as their master instructor, because once that's broken, now it's just business. And sometimes business sucks. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And if it's an employee, then you become a boss.
Mhm.
And now you have a different perspective. One looking up, one looking down. But as a master, as their instructor, you're both, and me as a student and them following, we're still both looking up.
Sure.
Do you understand? That is one of the most important things. And I learned that from Grandmaster Kim.
Sure.
And I've seen it the other way with my original instructor who stopped training. He stopped growing.
Mhm.
If we don't grow, what's the alternative? We're dying a slow death. ABG, always be growing.
Sure. I'm gonna highlight something I heard a good mentor and friend of ours, Master Michael Merton, say.
Oh, I love him.
You know, great pioneer in our industry, and he said that if I ever hear one of my instructors refer to me as their boss to someone else, it hurts.
It hurts.
Because I don't want to be seen as their boss. I want to be seen as their instructor, right? Even though they work for me, I want them to think of me as their instructor. And I have that same view about how my employees and my instructors that teach me, Same thing. I always tell them, if I fail to be your instructor first, please let me know, because I don't want that to happen either. And to your point, sir, I want them to always continue to look. And I have to admit, I opened my own school last year, and there were people that I trained with as colleagues that were my same level, even people that were a little bit ahead of me, who have come to my school, and now they train with me and they work for me. And I think it's because I'm continuing my education, I'm continuing to try and grow, and they see that path that I'm going to keep uplifting them. We're all in this, unfortunately and fortunately, I guess in a sense, we're all in this for selfish reasons, right? We all want to have a better life for ourselves too. And I think that when people recognize you're going to help uplift them, they're going to continue to go on that journey with you. And I think it's very important, sir, for sure.
Agreed. It has to. When I was your guys' age, right, close to that, I would be very, like Grandmaster Kim would say to us, you have to love your students. And I would be like, well, I love my kids. I love my wife. I care about my students. But then I learned, like where I am now in my career, you have to love them unconditionally.
Sure.
You have to love them unconditionally. You have to, my philosophy, and Master Tracy and Master Berlow says, I will absorb any hit to protect them. There's nothing I wouldn't do. I would financially, I'll take it in. I'll hit me on the chin. I don't care. It's all going to work out. Right. Like Grandmaster Kim says, there's a difference between having students and customers. Students and customers. I am blessed beyond measure because I have a handful of students where most people in our industry have a lot of customers. And that's when I say students, they follow, they respect, they believe, they trust. Am I always right? Absolutely. I make lots of mistakes. Trust me. They know, right? But they point them out too. It's all good. But it's really, really, really important that we try to get students, right? And you could look, Master Berlow, Master Tracy, and same Master. Think about right now, who are your students and who are your customers? We try to breed them through leadership. We try to breed them through this, breed them through that. But who are the two students? Who are the two customers? All right.
Something to really think about, so for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And now I'm going to ask for the last, I know time's not on our side. I could sit here all day and listen to you speak. So
I know, I'm sorry.
But I know you have other things to do. So I'm going to ask Master Berlow. I know he had a whole gauntlet of questions he wanted to ask you. But Master Berlow, if you have one really burning question for your father, the man, the myth, the legend, what's something that you'd love to ask for the benefit of our viewers?
My biggest question, actually, or my biggest thing was the explanation of always being a student first. I think that was the biggest, most powerful thing. This is great. This kind of like you guys were saying, going over it for we could do this for hours, right? I do have a list. I'm gonna open up a list. So let me just find it. I had one that now this can go in regards to, with business. This could go with training. This can go, I guess, really with everything. So the question is, how do you stay motivated when progress feels slow or invisible? So what keeps you going? What keeps you moving? What keeps you moving the needle, even if the needle doesn't look like it's moving enough? A lot of people, if they don't see the progress, then they stop doing it, right? What keeps you going?
It's a great question. Keeps the progress is there's a philosophy called Il Shin that we follow, right? And the number one philosophy, the one where there's like 10 rules that we teach a lot, and I could share this another time. It's called Il Shin philosophy. And number one rule is keep the rules when you have no rules. So in other words, I have certain things that I do consistently, and it's not necessarily like I've become more of a marathon runner than a sprinter. Right? And in a marathon runner, you're going to continuously go and you're going to have a slow, steady pace and get to your objective. Where a sprinter, you want to go A to B as fast as you can. Most people will go A to B and then they stop, and A to B and then stop. I just want to keep going. I train for one reason, and that's longevity. Right? So the things that I do, and that's probably the season of life that I'm in, the things that I do, so let's talk training wise, is just so I could keep doing it for as long. My goal is that I can do what I do and do what I love till the end of my days. Otherwise, I don't know if I want to live anymore, right? I want to keep doing, right? And I'm going to continue to challenge myself to do that, but I'm not doing anything crazy like I used to. Although I did a stupid bike today, but anyway, that's a different story. But so that's one. And in business, when it comes to business, yeah, it's a roller coaster. You know this. I'm doing great. Best month ever. What the heck? I have no profit? Holy crap. And we go down and this and this and this. Summer's crazy. Summer, best income, highest expenses, right? So it's just, I think the other thing is about having faith. And that faith goes back to faith that all is going to work out. I think that's kind of my belief in that. I don't know if I answered your question.
That was great.
And going back to having the rules, there's no rules. Even though there's no rules, I have certain rules that I just follow consistently. So it's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
I remember we had a conversation. I can never actually pinpoint the exact saying or word. It was talking about there's a body of water, there's sharks in the water, there's a millionaire and there's a billionaire, and there's different mindsets. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I love that story. I teach that to so many people. There's a millionaire and a billionaire, and the millionaire asked the billionaire, well, how did you do it? How did you become a billionaire? The billionaire says, well, there's a body of water and we're here and we want to get to the other side, but in that water is all these sharks. He goes, you as a millionaire, you keep looking at the sharks. Me, I already see myself on the other side. And that's my philosophy. I don't look at the sharks. I deal with them, but I already see where and that the master trade, you guys know with COVID, what I kept on saying, doesn't matter. We just got to get there. It's all going to go away. We just have to get to the other side. Yes, it sucks. We just have to get there. And guess what? Master Tracy, how is UMAC Briarcliff doing from before COVID to after COVID?
Like double, 2.5 times.
2.5
everything.
times. Master Berlow, how is UMAC Sherbrooke doing from now, before COVID to after COVID?
We're doing very well, sir.
Right.
We're doing well. We are. I could confidently say that our best month before COVID is 50% of our best month now. We've doubled our best month.
It's also your guys' leadership, and I'm not saying I had anything to do with it, but get us to the other side. I think that because what you guys came with, you are in the trenches. We were all in the trenches, but you were telling me we got this. Doesn't matter. We just got to get to the other side. I was like, throw as many punches as you want. It's fine. Hit us as hard as you want. It doesn't matter because we just got to get to the other side. And then when you look at that, the obstacles are much smaller. It's like seeing the forest through the trees. When you go up to the tree, and the tree's right here. man, that tree is huge. Then you go to the next tree and that tree is huge. But when you look back and you look at the forest, they look so small because you see you want to get to the top. So when you focus on that top, you focus on the other side, you just deal with the stuff and maneuver and make things happen. That's the philosophy.
It's all about attitude. It's all about your mindset going into anything. You know, What are you focusing on? What are you dwelling on? Are you focusing on the goal? Are you focusing on your progress? Are you focusing on the situation at hand? And then, you know, a big thing that I like to say is get excited, right? When there's a challenge, get excited, right? When there's maybe even a setback, get excited to make it happen, because every time you overcome a challenge, I don't know, I say this all the time to students, I'm sure we all do. Every time there's a challenge, when you overcome that challenge, how are you going to feel, right? Are you going to be proud of the fact that, what else can I do once I overcome that challenge? And then it keeps going. So I really love that.
Good. Well, you guys have allowed me to do that.
For all the listeners, we had so much golden nuggets today by Grandmaster Berlow. Sir, we want to thank you so much for joining the podcast. And thank you for being our inaugural guest. It was no place for anybody else but you, sir, for bringing us all together and helping, you know, create this this great life that we all live together and we share. And I just want to ask Master Tracy if you have any other closing remarks. I know everyone had a lot to say, and I want to ask you, sir, if you want to share anything at the very end.
Sure. Last thing, Grandmaster Berlow, if someone wanted to reach out, connect with you, how would they be able to?
Oh, super easy. masterberlow@me.com. I didn't change my email from like a long time, but masterberlow@me.com. Please feel free to reach out, or reach out to Master Tracy, Master Berlow, even Master CJ. They can get a hold of me. You know, we also have a Balanced Warrior podcast, which I'd love to you know, just share. I do that with Master Mertens, whom we're going to call him Grandmaster Mertens. He's not taking the title, but we're going to call him that because he just earned his 7th Dan. And Grandmaster Paul Malella, we do that. We love, we have great conversations. So definitely please come and take a look at that. And just anybody has any questions. I love to have conversations with people who are inspired and just want to continue to be better every day.
That's awesome. Thank you, sir, so much. Again, Master Tracy, Master Berlow, thank you for being great co-host. Grandmaster Berlow, thank you for being our inaugural guest. And everyone, will catch you on the next one. Kamsahamnida.
Thank you.